All right, today we are joined with Secretary of State Brian Kemp from Athens. Before he was elected Secretary of State in 2010, he was appointed in 2009 to replace Karen Handel when she resigned to run for governor. But prior to this position, he served as a state senator from Athens. It's the first Republican elected in his district there in Clark County. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, good to be with you.
Well, Secretary Kemp, I know that you have been a friend of North Fulton in our chamber. I want to just get an update on some of the stuff that's going on in your office today that we can share with our membership.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a very busy year. 2012 is going to be huge for the Secretary of State's office. Obviously, we're getting ready for the presidential preference primary, which is coming up on March 6th. Absentee balloting or early voting by mail has already started. We've got the in-person early voting starting on February the 13th, and then Election Day is March the 6th. So looks like the race is going to make it to Georgia, so we're getting geared up for that and would encourage everybody to participate in the process. Also, later in the year, we've got the primaries and the general election in November, so it's a really big year for us. We're also working on getting all the redistricting that was done this summer, getting that in place, sending new voter registration cards out later this year, so we're busy doing that as well. And we've got quite an aggressive legislative agenda. We're releasing our Elections Advisory Council report today, which will be a piece of legislation dealing with a lot of really streamlining the elections process. It's an accumulation of a year's worth of work by a really good group of people that I appointed to the council to review our election laws and see how we could streamline, make the process more efficient, look at ways that we could reduce costs, not only at the state level but also at the local level. And then we're also got a big professional licensing plan that we're working on, which is going to be probably be the largest piece of legislation that's taken on this year. It's going to be probably 900 pages. We're going to try to streamline the professional licensing process, streamline the enforcement, get people into the workforce quicker. Right now it takes us about 30 days to get somebody licensed if they have a clean application. We want to move that down to 1 week. Also, one of the biggest complaints we get is that we don't do enough enforcement for those that are either doing unlicensed practice or folks that aren't following the rules and the laws that are competing with our folks that are. So this plan will help us be able to do a better job on the enforcement end of things and also add to transparency in the process. So we're really excited about that and working hard on that.
Well, and generally when people hear about 900-page bills, they say, well, this, government's overreaching and that kind of stuff. This is actually a good has potential to be a good 900-page bill.
It's going to be 900 pages when we start, but hopefully when we get it passed, what we're doing is repealing a lot of the laws and the rules that are in place that governing professional licensing and really streamlining them. We're not changing the parameters of the profession or what governs those. It's only the way the process works. And right now we have 43 different individual licensing boards that handle that work. We're going to move the authority for licensing and enforcement to the Secretary of State's office so we can speed up the process, make it more efficient. We're going to keep the existing boards in place for policy and advisory oversight of our office, and then we're going to have a new 7-member all-citizens board that would hear appeals and have the rulemaking authority. So we're going to greatly reduce government, greatly streamline government, and make it more efficient. I mean, that's what I had run on. It's what most members that are in the majority of the General Assembly had run on, and we're actually doing it. But I will tell you, it's tough anytime you want to change government. So we need chambers of commerce's and good business people's help to get their legislators to go along with us.
Well, I know the plan has been received favorably by many of our members who I've talked to. The second question I wanted to ask you in regard to e-government solutions. You've talked a lot about transforming this office and the work that you do and this office does and making it easier to do business on the internet. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit. I mean, we've streamlined our corporate registrations and renewals where you can now go online and renew your registration online. You can start a new business online. It's very easy and quick to do that. In our licensing division, our licensing process, the the process that we have now, it takes us a long time, but it's not because we haven't implemented e-government solutions to do that. We now have it where all licensees can renew online. We have over 50 of the 200 different licenses. The original application you can do online. So we're not having to, when people do that, we're not having to open the mail, we're not having to process paper checks. I mean, it's all done electronically, which reduces the amount of resources that we have to use when we do those procedures. We've also used it in our elections. Right now we're in the process of implementing a new statewide voter registration database, which will be kind of web-based versus now we're on the old mainframe computer. We think that that will be a lot easier for county folks to learn how to use and use in the future. It'll also be able to be easier to train people that have never used the system, and will reduce cost on the counties having to pull data from our system. So we're really excited about that. And then we also have the My Voter page, which if you're a registered voter, you simply go to the Secretary of State's website, click on the MVP button, and you put in your first initial, your last name, the date of birth, and the county where you live, and it'll put up all your individualized voting information, you know, where your precinct is, early voting locations. You can print out a sample ballot. You know, if you vote by mail, you can actually track that on our website now. Just a lot of neat things that are where we're using e-government solutions to help our citizens that use our office.
Well, the last question I was going to ask you, or more of a comment, you know, the North Fulton Chamber has partnered with the Fulton Department of Elections and Registration because we found out that there were 40,000 people not registered north of the river. And you have been a strong proponent of registering people legally and providing proper documentation. You want to talk about that? Yeah,
well, we're excited about that. I mean, we're excited about any groups or citizens that want to try to get more folks registered. We certainly support that. We've got a ton of information on our website. It's very easy for people that aren't registered. They just go to our website, go to the MVP page. They can download a voter registration form. We've been working with some of the North Fulton folks about getting them voter registration forms for their drive, so we'll continue to do that when requested. And you know, our thing is, look, we try to make it easier for people to register to vote in our state. We just want to make sure that when they do register, that our voter registration list is secure, and we know who's on there and where they're from, and that they're a citizen of this state and this country when we do that. And as long as that's the case, we'll be glad to help you get registered.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sitting down with us. We look forward to catching up with you later on in the session.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.